Hey everyone, thank you for watching. Today's video is going to be a new hits and misses, a follow-up video. So I do a lot of trying new makeup over here, first impression style videos, typically on Fridays on my channel, and I always like to come back after trying out the products for a good amount of time and give my full thoughts on everything. So I'm reviewing some products from Nars, Hourglass, Fenty Beauty, and also Joah Beauty. So if you're interested to hear my thoughts on these products, why don't we go ahead and get started. So first up, I have the eyeshadow palette that I tried out in the trying new makeup video, which will be linked down below in case you want to see my first thoughts. So this is the Nars Ignited palette. This is a $59 palette. This was part of their holiday release, so I believe it is a limited edition palette. So this is what the inside of the palette looks like. It's very nice packaging. You do have the mirror on it, and then you have 3x4, 12 shades inside. So inside the palette, you have a row of mattes right here. So you have 3 different mattes, and then you have shivers. You have shimmers and kind of these glittery shades. It's a really beautiful palette. Don't get me wrong. When I saw it, I came really close to purchasing this for myself. I really did like the Nars palette that they released on their last holiday release. So when I saw this come out, I felt like the colors in here spoke to me even more. A lot of these are very like pinky tones, and I was going to purchase it for myself, but it's $59, so that's a very expensive palette. And then I actually did get this in PR from Nars, which I was very excited for, and I'm excited to be able to review. Obviously on my channel, I love reviewing new makeup. So kind of my thoughts on this. When I first tried it out, I really liked it. When I tried it out again, I still really liked it. I thought that it was really beautiful. I do also have it on my eyes today. I wanted to do something just a little bit simple. I've been doing a lot of like, just a little bit more of like oomph looks and a lot of lashes and things like that. So I just kind of wanted to like give my eyes a break today. So I did something really simple. I'm not really sure what's going on with like the hair and this shirt. I feel like I'm trying to be somebody right now, but I don't know who it is I'm trying to be. Like, do you guys know who I'm trying to be? Who am I? But so I do have this on my eyes again today. I've tried out every single shade in the palette, and I do really like this palette. I've used it a lot because I feel very inspired by it. I'm very light-handed, and I feel like for me this palette looks a little messy. I feel like there's a lot of shades in here that you can tell that I've dipped back into several times. I like that we have mattes, the shimmers, the glitters. I think that's great. I really do like all the colors. As I was sitting down and trying to decide what was I going to say for my review, who am I recommending this for? Am I recommending this at all? I was kind of getting a little bit stumped because, like I said, I like this palette and I keep reaching in for it. Once I even had my review down, you know, I tried all the different shades. I kept finding myself like, I want to go back into that Nars palette because I really want to play with that shadow again. You know, I was having those types of thoughts, and I really wanted to come back into the glitters. And like I said, I just feel like it's a pretty cohesive palette. I feel like there's, you know, complete eye looks that I can do in here, which is awesome. What I think I will say though is that you definitely get a lot of fallout with this palette. I definitely recommend to do your eyes first if you're using this palette. I suggest to spray your brush, not only because it will help with fallout, but I do feel like some of the shimmers and some of the glitter shades kind of need that damp brush in order to give like the full pow effect onto the eyes. And this is a $59 palette. That's a very expensive palette. I have palettes in my eyeshadow collection that, you know, are cheaper than this and don't need the help of a setting spray. So I think what I've decided with this one, that even though I really like it and I really like the different looks, I feel like this is a good palette for people who prefer high-end makeup. I've mentioned this in the past on my channel when I was reviewing a Charlotte Tilbury product, because especially since I've been watching more channels recently that kind of focus on higher end products, there's definitely a market for that, just as the same way as there's a market for affordable makeup and there's a market for indie makeup. You know, there's, you know, of course everybody's different, everybody's interested in different things because we are all different. If you are a high-end lover, if you are a Nars lover, I think that you would really like this palette and I would recommend it for you. Is this particular palette at $59 a palette that I think everybody needs to go out and add into their collection? No, I do not. And this is also a limited edition palette. Some people like to collect limited editions, some people don't want anything to do with it. So that's just something to keep in mind too. But overall, I do think it's a really nice palette. I'm going to find myself reaching in for it more and more. But if I would have personally spent $59 on this palette, I don't know if I would feel like I would get my full money's worth out of it, if that makes sense. Again, I like it. I think it's nice. I'm bummed at how much fallout you get because it is a lot, I'm telling you guys, with pretty much every single shimmer and every single glitter. It's just all over my face. I have to take a full makeup wipe and really wipe everything off once I'm done with it. But I always really like the looks that I'm getting out of it. And some I like really like those looks. And like I said, I feel inspired to come back into it. So yeah, I would say if you are the fan of the high-end makeup, or you're a fan of Nars, or you know, you just don't mind spending that and you think that you would get a lot of use out of this palette, I still think it's nice, but I wanted to point out those cons as well. But if you're you're wondering, you know, I usually stick with more affordable products, or maybe not even affordable, but you know, $30, $40 palettes or something like that. Is a $59 palette really worth it for me to run out and grab? I would say probably not. So that's kind of my thoughts on the Nars Ignited palette. I personally do like it for myself though, but I just can't, it's just, you know, it's just a high price. Okay, so another product that I tried out in that video is from Fenty Beauty. This is one of the match sticks. My shade that I got is in Mocha, and I wanted this as like a cream bronzer. So I'm not a big cream product kind of girl. I used to be for a while, then I kind of got off, and now I'm like slowly feeling more interested. I've been pulling out like my Benefit Quickie Hoola Quickie Contour Stick for a while. I've been using like the Flower Beauty blush bombs. So I've just been kind of like more into it right now. I think a lot of times, especially in the colder months, I kind of go more towards the cream products as well, because I have really dry skin, and sometimes it can just help not look as dry, if that makes sense. And for whatever reason, this thing was calling out to me for a while. I had it on my loves list for quite some time, and I just didn't do it, and I didn't do it mostly because I'm not super into cream products, so why would I buy a cream product? And then finally, once I started playing with more in my collection, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna try it out. These are $25. They also have trios where you can buy a mini of like a concealer shade and a bronzer shade, maybe like another shade, and that's like $54, I want to say it is. So there's that option too. I decided just to go with the one, and again, the shade that I got is in Mocha, and I have it on today. It is my cream bronzer today. My biggest issue is remembering that I want to use this, because a lot of times I will apply foundation and concealer, and then I will set my face with a powder, and you're supposed to use cream before powders. So sometimes I have it in my mind that I'm going to use it, and then all of a sudden I'm putting powder all over my face, and I'm like, well, never mind. So that's one of the harder things. Like, I even pull it out and set it on my desk, and I still forget because I just get into my routine. That part's tough. That's totally on me. That's not on the product. But the days that I do remember, I like this product. The best way that I have found to apply it is I actually apply it to my hand first, and then I will pick up a damp sponge. I will tap it on my hand, and then I will apply to my face. In the video where I was trying this out, I did rub it on my hand first to kind of warm up the stick, because I've seen Rihanna's makeup artist do that. That's how she said to do it, and then she applied it directly to the person's face that she was doing makeup, so I followed her steps just like she did, and I found it very hard to blend out. I definitely say a sponge is best. I've also tried it with a brush. I tried it with a brush in the video. I definitely think a sponge is best because it's not the easiest to blend out. It dries really quick. So I also say, you know, just really work on one area at a time. I do one cheek, I do another cheek, then I do one side of my forehead, the other side of my forehead, so I'm not putting it in all different places and then trying to blend, because that's just really, really hard. So this is definitely not like the smoothest, creamiest cream bronzer I've ever tried. I've actually found myself, you know, meaning to grab for this, but then being like, you know what, I really like the way my base is looking right now. I'm gonna go for my Benefit one. So I personally still like the Benefit more. That's just me. I just think it's easier to blend out. I think it looks smoother on my skin. Even today, I still feel like it looks just a little bit on the patchy side. I'm not completely happy with it, and I don't know. Sometimes it looks patchier on me. Sometimes I think it looks pretty smooth, but it's kind of like a hit or miss for me. I never really know what I'm going to get. I still like the product. I am going to keep it. I am going to continue to use it, but it's not like an absolute favorite of mine. I don't think it'll be like a 100% staple, but again, I still like it. But those are kind of the cons that I found with it, is I just don't think it's super easy to blend, and sometimes it can get a little bit patchy. And you just have to be aware, like with the Benefit Hoola, I can put that wherever I want and then take my time and blend it out, and I have no issues. And with this one, you just have to be really, really quick. But I like the finished result most of the time. I like the way that it's looking. I do like the packaging. I think that's nice and everything, but just not an absolute 100% favorite. But has anyone tried this one, and what would your thoughts be? I would like to know. And I appreciate all the comments, like, you know, in that video I was like, how do you guys apply this? You know, what is it that you're doing? And I got a lot of suggestions, and the one to apply it to my hand, then my sponge, then my face, that was easiest. I also sometimes get annoyed because then I have to go wash my hands, and it's like, who has time for that? You know what I'm saying? I'm just kidding. Okay, so moving on, another product I had, this is from Hourglass. This is the Ambient Lighting Edit Volume 4. I actually had this sent to me from a subscriber. Her name was Jennifer, and she sent along a really sweet note with this as well. And I was really grateful for this because I almost purchased this so many times, especially when Sephora was doing all their sales. But it's an $80 palette, and I just kept talking myself out of it because I have tried a couple of the Hourglass products, and they just didn't necessarily blow me away. So I'm like, why are you going to buy an $80 palette? Like, are you crazy? And so when she sent this, you know, she said, I saw that you had it on your list. You ended up not buying it, and I thought I would pass it on to you. And I was just like, that is super kind. And again, I appreciate being able to do these reviews on my channel. I appreciate being able to have, you know, comparisons. If people say, oh, do you think that is comparable to the Hourglass? I can now answer that. So I'm always really, really grateful for that. So thank you to Jennifer for this. So again, from Hourglass, you have 6 different shades inside. Really beautiful packaging. I really, you know, this is like all gorgeous and stuff. Really nice mirror in here. I think that it's very travel friendly. I have thrown this in my travel bag quite a bit as I've been testing it out. So inside you have 2 kind of like your face setting powders. You have a highlight, a bronzer, and then also 2 blushes. I will say my favorite product out of this is actually the bronzer. I really like the bronzer. It's definitely lighter, but I feel like it just looks so pretty on the skin, and it gives just like a bit of a shimmer to it. I'm not normally like a shimmer bronzer girl. I prefer more matte, but it's almost just like it's glowy. Like, it's not shimmery, it's not glittery, it's almost just like glowy, and I think that it looks so pretty. So I have been reaching for the bronzer the most out of this, which kind of surprised me. I wasn't too sure about that. The one product that I don't like out of here is the highlight. I think that it's very subtle, but I think that it's very glittery at the same time. I like more of a blinding highlight, and I don't really like glitter at all in my highlights. So the highlight is something that I've really stayed away from. I just don't think that it looks very nice on my skin. I do really like the blushes. A lot of times I mix them. I just have the pink one on my cheeks today. I do like the blushes. Again, they're more subtle, which is something that I noticed with Hourglass when I've tried their products in the past. I just feel like they can be a little bit more on the subtle side, which again, that's for sure some preferences out there. So maybe by me saying that, you're like, hey, that sounds like it would work really great for me. But I do like them. So blush isn't something that I get necessarily like super worked up about a ton. So I like the blushes. I think that they're fine. I honestly would have loved to see like another bronzer in here versus 2 blushes, but I mean, that's okay. That's fine. So the blushes I think are nice. And then the setting powders, I actually really do like these too, and I wasn't sure what I would think about them, but they also, again, they give this really pretty, just like kind of glowy effect to the skin. But at the same time, I feel like it helps make my skin a little bit more on the matte side, but not like too matte, because I do have dry skin and we're in winter. So it was kind of like, what is this going to do for me? It just, I don't know how to describe it, but I actually really do like these setting powders. Sometimes I just kind of mix them back and forth. I find myself reaching for this one more. I don't really have any rhyme or reason, to be honest with you. But that's just kind of what I've been doing, but I do like those. The pan sizes are definitely pretty small. I don't have a lot of issues with my brushes though. Really the only one that I do is the bronzer, because most of my bronzer brushes are pretty large, but I find myself using my Mocha Metallics buffer brush the most with this one because it's my smallest bronzer brush and more precise, and I just feel like I can really get where I want to go with this one, and it fits into this pan nicely. The other items, the brushes that I use them for, are typically smaller, except my face setting brushes, I have like mini ones, and that's typically what I reach for when I go into these powders. So overall for the palette, I do like it, and I'm going to continue to get use out of it. I'm going to use the bronzer, the blushes, and the setting powders. Do I think that this is worth the $80 price tag? I really don't think so, unless you really think that all 6 of these shades are going to work for you and like you're going to love them. So again, you're gonna have to like a subtle and glittery blush, 2 very subtle blushes, more of a subtle glowy bronzer, and then 2, you know, do you really need the 2 face shades? That to me is how the $80 would come into play here, and that it would be worth the money. I still think that it's really nice, don't get me wrong, but I feel like if I personally would have spent $80 on this, thinking about myself, my makeup preferences, my makeup collection, I don't feel like I would get my money's worth out of this. I don't think that it's a bad product. I don't think that I would have like returned it either if I purchased it for myself, because again, I just really like this bronzer in here, you guys, but I like some of the other products as well. But $80 is high. I would have definitely wanted to have purchased it at a sale. or something along those lines, but I think that I would have kept it. I just would feel like, you know, I do the videos of makeup I don't think I got my money's worth out of, and I feel like, there's one going up tomorrow actually, and that's kind of how I think I would feel with this one. So again, you know, if you're a high-end lover, if you're an Hourglass lover, this might totally be worth it for you. If you are not, but you're like, oh gosh, should I get that one? I would say that you could probably skip over it. So hopefully that review was helpful. Again, thank you to Jennifer for sending this over so I can review it, and I really hope someone, you know, gets something out of that review. But those are my thoughts on the Hourglass palette. Alrighty, so I have 2 products left to review. These are both from Joah Beauty. So Joah Beauty is a newer brand. They are sold at CVS, and they are more of an affordable drugstore brand. So they sent me a couple products to try out. So in that video, I tried out their brow pencil and also a mascara. I am wearing both today as well. So for the brow pencil, this is the Brow Down to Me, and my shade that they sent me is in Cool Taupe. So on one side you have more of like a precise pencil, and then on the other side you do have a spoolie, and this is about $8.99. So I don't mind this pencil, but again, I just don't think it's going to be a favorite of mine. I feel like I really have to press pretty hard on my brows to get a lot of product on them. It kind of reminds me a bit of like the Anastasia Brow Wiz, because I feel kind of the same way about that pencil. And I feel like when I do my brows, I feel like the end result is okay, but like not great. I think the shade is maybe just like a touch too light for me as well, which could play into it. But even so, I feel like as I'm applying it onto my brows, I really have to go over the same spot a lot to make sure I feel like a lot of product is getting down, and I just feel like my brows don't look as precise as I would like them to be, which is interesting with a precise pencil. You know, sometimes if I use something with more of like a teardrop shape, they're a little bit messier or like bushier or something. And I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like they're not super precise with this one. So it's a nice pencil, and it's a nice affordable option, and I'll probably keep using it until it's gone. But it's just not a favorite of mine, and I don't see myself reaching for it a lot in my collection, because I just feel like it's kind of a struggle to get to the end result, if that makes sense. And then there's a couple times where as I'm trying to fill in the front of my brows, I just feel like I can't quite get it, and I've had to bring in another pencil to try to complete that, because otherwise I just feel like funky things are happening. So it's okay, but not an absolute favorite of mine. And then I also tried out the mascara. So this is the Ice Cream Volume and Define Mascara. It's about $7.99. Now I do like this. I thought it looked really good in the video that I was using it with. So this is what the wand looks like. It's really black. I do like it, but I feel like after, because I used it a lot, because I did like it a lot, and I was testing it out and I kept using it, I felt like I'm already like running out of product in here, which is interesting. I mean, again, it's more affordable, which is great, but I don't feel like I've used it that many times that I feel like I should be running out of product. And I feel like when I apply it, like especially today, I feel like my lashes just look very like very clumpy looking, and I felt like I was really struggling to get a lot of product onto my lashes. And I'm like, I know that I've been using this a lot because I think that it's really good, but I just don't feel like it's going to be like a super, not like long-lasting mascara. I don't know what I want to say. I just feel like you're going to run out of this very quickly, which is kind of a bummer. And you know, mascaras are something that they do go bad quickly, so you want to move through them quickly, but like not that quickly, you know what I'm saying? Because I thought that this was a good one. So again, the Ice Cream for Volume and Define, I think that it does a really good job with volume, and I do think it does a good job at separating the lashes. I like how dark it makes them look too. I liked the wand also, but my only con that I can find is that I don't think it's going to stay in your collection for a very long time if you use it on a consistent basis. So take that how you will. Maybe you're someone who, you know, you find a mascara and you run it completely dry and then you move on and things like that. So that's just kind of what I thought about this mascara. So I liked it, but I feel like I'm already going to have to declutter it out of my collection, which is kind of a bummer. But those were my reviews on the 2 Joah Beauty products that I tried out, and then that's going to wrap it up for today's video. Following up on the first impressions that I did, I hope that you guys enjoyed these reviews or you found them helpful. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. And as always, if you did enjoy this one, I hope that you'll give it a thumbs up. I hope that you'll also consider subscribing before you go, and I'll catch you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye.